Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all of you. We're going to start our session in another 2 or 3 minutes. We are still waiting for the other participants to log in. If you have any question during the session, you may type your question in the chat box, right? So please don't forget to fill up your attendance forms. Thank you, guys.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Shafira,
Okay,
loud
thank you
and
so
clear.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from Malaysia. So, my name is Nur Shafira, and I am the PGSS Exco and the MC of the online program for today. But first of all, I would like to request all the guests, please mute your microphone as our event will begin shortly. But before we start the program, here is an announcement to all the participants. Please fill up your correct metric card number information because your participation will be recorded in the UTM ACAD system for the successful participation only if you provide us with the correct metric card number information. And after this, I will provide you with the attendance form link at the chat box. So please fill up this attendance form. Okay, now I would like to brief about the introduction. So the first one is the introduction of PGSS and PGSS Ahibs JB. So the Postgraduate Student Society, PGSS, is a representative society concerning all interests of postgraduate students in UTM. We, the PGSS Ahibs JB, is one of the 13 PGSS school or faculty branches which represent of postgraduate students in Azman Hashim International Business School JB campus. PGSS organizes a wide range of academic activities throughout the year, including PG structured courses, PG coffee session, and many more. And the second one is introduction of PGSS structured courses online. So the PGSS structured courses usually conducted at a convention hall in our faculty Ahibs, Block T08 by our Postgraduate Student Society. These fundamental courses aim at developing researcher identity and equipping students with the skills needed during postgraduate studies. However, based on the current situation of COVID-19, the PG structured courses, PG coffee session, and all the other PGSS activities have to be conducted online for this semester. And to get the latest updates of our incoming program and activities, please follow our PGSS Ahibs JB official Facebook page. And the third one is introduction of our guest speaker and the topic for today. So our guest speaker for today is Dr. Muhammad Khairuddin Ramli from Azman Hashim International Business School, UTM. Dr. Muhammad Khairuddin Ramli is currently a senior lecturer in the Business Administration Department of Ahibs JB. He had Master of Science in Entrepreneurship and PhD in Management Innovation from UTM Skudai in 2009 until 2017. He formerly held several positions in non-academic and academic in the private organization, business consultant, and an entrepreneur since 2007. He is very passionate about innovation, entrepreneurship, technology, commercialization, SMEs development, and community development. As for the research activities, he currently supervises 7 PhD students and 2 master students as the main supervisor. And the topic that Dr. Muhammad Khairuddin Ramli will deliver today is proposal defense. What are the best tools to defend your proposal? So now I would like to welcome Doctor to begin this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Shafira Muhammad, for introducing me. And again, thank you so much for the PGSS for inviting me for this session. You know, it's a very good effort for everybody here. And I hope you all can hear my voice to the clearly. All right.
Loud and clear, Doctor.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I'm going without wasting any more time. I'm going to share the slide presentation of today's. Okay, guys, can you see this slide presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then we have this very interesting topic of the proposal defense. You know, a lot of students asking me a very similar question, starting from 5 years ago up to even 10 years ago. A lot of students asking the similar question: what are the best tools, or what is the best way of defending the proposal? It doesn't matter that you are from the PhD students or master students; it's still the same. Because of you will have to learn about this one, before defending your proposal. You have to read it properly. Again, my name is Dr. Muhammad Khairuddin Ramli, and I'm from Azman Hashim International Business School. I believe that a lot of students are from the Azman Hashim as well. Congratulations for you guys for joining this session. And again, thank you very much for the organizer, for the president of the PGSS, Mr. Samsul, and all of the committee members who organized this this event very well. All right. And Assalamualaikum. Good day to everybody. Good afternoon to all. Happy Eid al-Fitri. Maaf Zahir Batin to all Muslims. All right. So I'm going to I'm going to start with the presentation right now. But I would love to have two-way communication settings, in which if you have any problems, if you have any question that you want to ask, you want to discuss with me, you are allowed to interrupt me anytime, so we can have a very conducive discussion moments. You have this time, you want to ask anything, please ask me. But some disclaimer after this I will let you know as well, because of in this proposal defense, we cannot set an apple for all of the students. You can use the similar method of this proposal defense across all faculties. You have your own supervisors. This is a general recommendation for your proposal defense. For those who already have your supervisor guide you for this proposal defense, you can go on, no problem. I strongly advise you to follow your proposal, your supervisor at the very first place. All right. Okay. So we have several agendas for today's session. Number one, of course, we want to know what is the preparation that you must have before the proposal defense. What is the thing that you should prepare, the tricks, the tips, and so on. And you also will have the important tips for the proposal defense presentation. The most important part of the proposal defense, what you should have in order for you to prepare for the best. Nowadays we have the pandemic, we have the COVID-19, we have a lot of circumstances in order for us to present. But thankfully we have the online tools for us to present still going on. So a lot of advantages during this online session. I will tell you later on. But of course, you must have to have something prepared, and the tools required for you to prepare for the best proposal defense in your life. All right. And then on the day of the defense, what is the thing that you have to present? You have to prepare to present to the audience, to make sure that the panel happy with you, and as well as the supervisor knows that you are doing your job well. All right. And then few common mistakes that you have to avoid. So this one as well, we'll be going to discuss about all of this throughout the session by today. And hopefully I can finish this one as fast as possible, because I know that all of you can wait to prepare your proposal defense, all right? Okay. So research proposal defense. So I have one question for everybody. So I hope that through two-way communication, you can help me to answer this question as well. What is the purpose of a research proposal? I hope that somebody can help me to answer this question. Anybody, please, guys? What is the purpose of a research proposal? Anybody, please?
Yeah. Maybe I can try, Doctor.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm Kanya here. Actually, the defense proposal is to justify my research to the panel, saying to really identify whether the subject that I'm researching, whether researchable or not, whether it has been researched by somebody or not. So it will be challenged by the intellectuals. So I have to justify and be prepared. This research is really worthwhile pursuing. That's my take.
That's great.
Dear Prof, may I add the answer? This is Shafkat from Pakistan.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah, sir, research proposal. So we present our proposal defense to educate our panel about the plan of action that we are going to execute for our proposed studies. Or it is roadmap or plan of action.
Definitely. That's great. Thank you very much for the both answers. I think you are ready. Both of you are ready, to go for the proposal defense. Basically it's a documentation based, a guidance, a blueprint for your research. What is your planning for your research? It's very, very basic concept. So whenever you think about to do the planning, you have to show to your supervisor, to your panels and so on, to verify, is it possible for you to run this? So this is my proposal. I want to show you, this is the proposal. This is the thing that I want to do. So this is the research. This is the evidence that there is a gap in terms of the knowledge that I want to address in this one. So as you can see, this is the problem that if we do not solve this problem, it's going to be a very big, very big problem to other people as well. So you want to convince this, you want to defend this one, but of course, not to defend till your death. You want to defend because of you want to show that there is a lot of justification, good justification for you to show to your panels, to the examiners, to the supervisors about your intention. So this is the very basic thing about this purpose of a research proposal. So thank you very much for the answers. Thank you. I love both of the answers. Again, thank you very much, guys. And how to prepare the presentation slides and what are the important components in the research proposal. So we are going to discuss this one by one in order for you to understand, to fully grasp the opportunity of doing the best proposal defense for your PhD or for your master, hopefully, inshallah. All right. So in order for us to have the gist for the proposal defense, we have to understand the timeline, timeline before, during the presentation and after the presentation. So we have to understand what we have to do before the presentation. We must have this one as a plan. You have to plan the presentation as a team. Believe me, I've been through this, I tried to do alone the proposal presentation. Yes, you can do it alone, no problem. But with a team, you can develop something that is very, 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 in terms of the foundation, is very good, very strong, compared to the individual task, right? So better for you to have a team and to plan, and even better, you can plan with your supervisor as well. So this is the best thing ever in the PhD or in the master's progress. All right. So you have to be close with your supervisor and to prepare and to plan as well for the presentation. And then you have to go thoroughly discuss the presentation sequence with your supervisor. Again, supervisor, not your friend, supervisor. All right. So you have to discuss this one first with your supervisor and ask him or her about your progress, about your planning. Is it possible to do this? Is it possible to do that? And so on. What is the best way to manipulate these things and so on? And then, put this one in your records, jot down everything, please make sure that you are in track and you are aligned with your supervisor. Align. You mean, you must be in the same wavelength with your supervisor. A lot of students missing with this one, they they are not aligned with the supervisor. They are doing this in the silo terms, doing by themselves without without contacting their supervisors. And finally, they just presented the final version of the proposal defense. This is very, very wrong. So please be aware of this one. And before the defense, please plan your presentation. All right. Okay. And then during the preparation of the presentation, in order for you to make sure that the presentation is efficient and effective enough, please use bullet point. Okay, less is more. No, more is less. All right, less is more. So it is better for you to avoid wordy point. All right, in the slide presentation, try your best to avoid wordy points. You are not going to put a full sentences in your presentation slides. No one is going to read your presentation slides for you to refer with and for the audience to be pleased. All right, so you don't have to put everything in your slide presentation. I will show you an example after this on how to prepare the best for your proposal defense. And please check the typo, please check the grammatical errors, mistakes, and so on before you are moving forward with the presentation. And please enhance the presentation with infographics. So it is easy for the laymen, easy for the panels, easy for the audience to look into your slides, to digest everything, without having to look into your formula at very much. All right. So you have to explore, you have to be creative in this one. So you have to have this common sense to prepare for this slide of presentation. If you don't have it, you can ask your friend for an advice. You can ask your wife, your husband, and so on before you are going even before meeting with your supervisor, to at least to have the good impression in yourself. All right. So again, you must do your homework. You must do your homework and master the part that you will be presenting. Believe me, you are going to be the expert in your area, so you are going to master everything in your area. And please, do the best in terms of doing this study. You have a lot of opportunity to dig a lot of information. Currently, we have a lot of resources easily available online. So it's up to you on how you want to strategize before you go for the proposal defense. Please make sure that all of your efforts are worth during this proposal defense. All right, and simulate the session and come out with a possible question. You have to simulate this situation by mock presentation with your lecturers and so on. And you yourself, as myself previously during my my defense and during my thesis presentation as well, I do mock presentation. Even I do iterate all of the presentation, and I come out with a question by myself. So I try to answer all of these questions. I prepare all of these possibilities and so on to make sure that I am prepared. All right. So you also could do this as well. Please practice this one. In any kind of the presentation, you have to practice first. You have to iterate, and iterate again to make sure that you are master enough in this area of presentation. All right. And the most important part in which a lot of students, fail to do is basically to prepare the proposal defense checklist. This is your own checklist, not by the faculty, not by the supervisor, and so on. You have to prepare your own checklist. You have to check with the policies, with the protocols, and so on. So you have to make sure that you have the checklist, such as what is the format of the thesis, is it already done, the slide presentation, is it follow the flow of the presentation, how about the forms, how about the online tools, you have everything, or the skills that required for the things that you want to do later on. So you must have this proposal defense checklist. Okay, guys, I think a lot of students currently having a problem in terms of perhaps using handphone. So please be careful in doing your annotating the handphone, because of I can see a lot of messages here. All right, guys. Up until now, you have any question, guys? Any question for this one? This is a very brief explanation about the before the presentation. So far, so good. Okay. All right.
Excuse me, doctor.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. What do you mean by online tools here?
Okay. Meaning, for example, if you want to join a WebEx session and so on, so please make sure that you have the checklist WebEx installed. For example, Google Meet prepared. For example, all the requirement of the online. For example, your camera, your microphone, and so on. All the tools. So you have to prepare this one because of this is the new norms, right? So previously we know that from the face-to-face you don't have to prepare a lot of things. You just bring your laptops and you bring your things, just plug into the device, you can go with the presentation. But nowadays you have to prepare on behalf yourself. Of course you have the laptops, but what happens if the laptop is having a problem and so on? What is your action plan and so on? So this is the checklist that you have to prepare by yourself. All right, so hopefully I answer your question.
Yes,
All
thank
right?
you so much.
Okay, all right. So this is some other important tips for proposal defense preparation as well. So I divided this into 3 categories, to recap everything. So the first one, you must have the soft skills, soft skills. You must have the critical thinking in order for you to visualize, in order for you to simulate what's going to happen in the proposal defense. You have to think ahead, you have to visualize everything, think of what is the possible question that going to be asked by the panel and so on. So again, I cannot ensure you what kind of the question that for sure will be asked, but there is tremendous question that will be asked by the panels, and you must be ready on all of the possibilities. All right, so the best is basically know your panels, know your supervisors, and discuss with your supervisors, and believe me, you are going to gain something out of it. All right, and then you must have the common sense as well. Common sense meaning that you must know the things happening during the presentation. This is the common sense you must have in your mind as well, and you must have the creativity to develop the slide presentation, and you must have the confidence to present. It's okay to be afraid of, it's okay to be nervous, because of nervousness shows that you are taking this very seriously in terms of the proposal defense. All right, but never go up to the level of overconfidence or arrogance. All right, so this is the rule of thumb of the presentation of the proposal defense. All right, and then the next one is the technical skills needed. So this is updated to the new norms in which this, during this pandemic, during this COVID and so on. But again, if things going to be in a normal, normal situation again, I believe that the online, online proposal defense and so on will still be going, because of this is a very, very good tools for us to save time, in order for us to have the session with the panels to defend our proposal. So you have to have this technical skill. Of course, you must know about the writing skills. That's why you cannot appoint other people to do the writing by yourself. All right. So you still can appoint, but of course, for some cases, if you don't have enough time, but still you must have this writing skill by yourself. What is the expectation of the people when you obtain your PhD, when you obtain your master? Of course, people will, assume that you are good in terms of doing the right things and so on. If you appoint somebody to do it for yourself, so believe me, someday it will be, bad things for you as well, because of people will know it one day. All right, and then you have to make sure that you have the skill of organizing. Putting things in the right position, managing things, organizing things. You must do it in a very proper manner. For example, if you have a Google Drive and so on, if you have a folder in your computer, please put a number to your folders, arrange things properly. For example, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, references, resources, and so on. So make things in the very nice order, in the very organized manner, because of, believe me, if you have something like this, one day you will feel that, wow, I'm so confident in terms of doing this, because of I already have a very structured way of organizing things, and during your development of literature review and so on, it is very easy for you to find resources. You will not be lost in the space you own. All right. A lot of students, they're having this problem of organizing things in the computers and so on. I can see a lot of students, you know, it's a common thing is when you open your laptop, the information is scattered all over the places. This is a very common thing. But please avoid this one. Please, starting from today, try to organize your folders, try to organize your things, you know. At least when the supervisors ask you, do you have these references about this one and this one? So you are ready to show to your supervisor and so on, because of you already organized everything. Believe me, this is very important. All right. And then of course you must have the technical skills for the design. But of course, you know, it's not a must. But if you have this, it's going to be a bonus for you, because obviously you can still you know, appoint somebody or designers to help you in doing this. But if you could do it by yourself, it's better. All right. And then for the online meeting setup, you must have this technical knowledge as well. And the most important part, a lot of people, you know, always, you know, having a problem, but at the same time, they don't want to learn about this one. They don't want to obtain about the skill. It's basically file conversion. It's a very simple problem, very simple skills. You know, sometimes when you give your presentation slides to the organizer, the version of your PowerPoint perhaps too advanced for the organizer to open. Or sometimes your version is too old for the organizers to open as well. So there will be some problems in terms of versioning. So it is better for you to have this skill and to convert your file to the PDF before giving to the examiners and so on. All right, this is very important. And as well as for some of the people, some of the students, they used to put a lot of graphics in the slide presentation, you know, a lot of things, a lot of graphs and so on. So the size of the presentation slide, some of the students, they put even video in the slide presentation. So please be aware of this, guys. And you must learn on how to do the file size reduction. Why I address this problem? Because of this problem always happen in the session of the proposal defense. Always. So we don't want to waste the time. We don't want to, you know, we don't want to have a bad impression of the panels towards you because of, you know, because of these simple problems. So whenever you have the time, try to explore what is the best thing, what is the tools that you could use to make sure that you can reduce the size of the slide presentation and to give properly to the audience. All right. So this is the technical skills needed for the proposal defense. And for tools needed, of course, we must have knowledge. We must have the PowerPoint, Keynote, you name it, Prezi, a lot of other things. You can use it as you wish, no problem at all. But I highly suggested you guys to use a grammar checker. And it is a must to have at least EndNotes or Mendeley for your references. Believe me, this is going to be very important. Okay, the majority of the students during the stage of the proposal defense, they pay less attention in terms of this one. They do the you know, the referencing in terms of the manual referencing. Believe me, manual referencing, if you have what we call less number of the references, such as 50 to 100 references, then it's okay. But more than that, you are going to need to use something that is more efficient, such as EndNote or Mendeley. All right, please, guys, you have to do this. You have to study. You have to start doing this in very, very good term of manner. All right. So I also have this. You know, if anybody wants to know about this one later on, you can PM me, or perhaps I can share my numbers after this. All right, to help the students on how to have these skills of EndNotes and Mendeley. You know, it is a very good opportunity for all students to learn about this one. No, believe me, it's very, very good tool for you guys. And of course, you have to have the general tools or knowledge about this one. Can we edit the word on how? Okay, I think we have a question in chat room. Okay, reference can be added only. How can we add references for slides in PowerPoint? Okay, all right. Again, I will explain to you what kind of the references you want to put in the slides. Since you don't have to put all the references in the slides, especially on the point form. So you just need to highlight a few references that is most important to address your research proposal. I will explain later for this one. All right. Okay. So I will share later, no worries. Okay. So we have the online device setup such as camera, lights, and so on, etc., etc. Because of during the proposal defense, some of the students we cannot see the face, we just only see the hand. Believe me, when we ask the student what happened to your laptops, I don't know, I just presenting my proposal defense, I can see just only hands moving around without heads. So up until the end of the presentation, that's why I say you you have to you have to ensure this one before the presentation begins. Try your best to minimize these things, or at least remove all of these unnecessarily things, to make sure that people looks into you as a good candidates, professional candidates. You are being the postgraduates. You are in the upper hierarchy of the people on earth. Believe me. So you must do something to show that you are up to the level of that one. So especially on the very simple things such as the tools and so on. All right. Okay. Okay. I think we have a question in the chat room.
Doctor, I have a question. If I don't know any answer of a specific question, how to handle this situation? I don't want to lose my confidence as well. So how to handle this situation?
Okay. If you already face this situation, for example, you have a problem during your presentation, you are too nervous, and suddenly your kids coming and try and rip your laptop off, and suddenly the image shows to your ceiling and so on. So you can ask the examiners some time to break and to prepare and to redo the presentation. No problem, because of the examiners, they are all human beings, they also did a lot of mistakes. So it is very, very basic things. You do it properly. You ask the examiners, I need some time to repair my, laptop's position and so on, the camera. Hopefully you give me some time. I really appreciate this one. So it's okay. No worries. Don't nervous. Okay. But the best is before the presentation, you already prepare and you have a friends who can encourage you or can help you, who can be in your circle, to check into your presentation and so on, to verify everything. Believe me, the preparation is the best, so avoid these simple mistakes, please. All right, I hope that I answer your question. Okay.
Doc, I'm asking if I don't know any answer of any specific question.
Oh, I cannot hear
And
that
I
one,
also
sorry.
don't want to lose my confidence.
Okay, be honest, just be honest. When it comes to times, the examiners, like myself, when I ask the student, I know that the student might not have the answer as well. For example, I ask the student, what is the scope of your study? Because of they don't put the scope of the study in the research, in the proposal. So the students go around the bush, explaining other things that is not related to the scope of study and so on. And I said, no, you have to give me the answer. If you don't know, then you just give me the information that you don't have the information, and surely you will do some of the study and you will do research on this one. So you'll prepare and you redo and you repair in the proposal defense, you improve in the proposal defense. That's enough. Just be honest. We don't want to hear everything that is right from your side. We want to see your efforts, that's more important than others, and you're honest. Be honest. All right. So I
Okay.
hope that I answer your question.
Yeah. Thank you, Doc.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. So any other question? Okay. Okay. Is it mandatory to use manually or not? No, mandatory. So it's up to you. You can use manually, but it will be big trouble for you. Believe me, when you do the PhD, you will have to arrange more than 2,000 or 3,000 references. You are going the manual one is going to take you years to finish everything. All right. Doctor, do we need to pass our presentation slides to our examiners before the presentation day? Not necessarily. You have to give the slides to the organizer, usually a day before the presentation. Okay. Is there any special form for proposal defense presentation? Definitely, you have to, you have to inform the faculty first to ask about the form of the presentation, and you have to file, you have to fill the forms first before you join the presentation or you attend the presentation. Okay. Okay, right. So I think I answer the recent question from this chat box, and we will continue the session. Okay, all right. So we have this on the day of the defense. This is a very important one. On the day of the defense. So again, the rule of thumb is basically you have to double, triple check on the checklist. Please do this. Believe me, because all of you are in the very, very nervous situation. So a lot of things are not going to be very, very right. So you have to double, triple check on the checklist. All right. You have to do a lot of things, in order for you to please your nervousness, So please double, triple check on the checklist. Dress properly, although you are not sleeping for 2 or 3 days, but dress properly, show your professionalism and so on, you must do the best on this one. You want to nail on this one. Proposal defense happens only once on a lifetime for the PhD. But if you must go twice, that means some problem with your proposal defense. I don't encourage for you to do that. So, all right. Okay. Which best tool for using grammar? Okay, this one I think later. All right. Test the online connectivity, i.e. camera, microphone with your friends. Of course, you have to, you have to do the mock situation, before the presentation, 1 hour before the presentation, you can ask the organizer to run. Usually in UTM, what we practice is basically we do the testing of the connectivity and so on. So you don't have to worry in here. But sometimes if the organizer having some problem, you have to have a backup plan as well. For example, perhaps you want to become the host of the presentation. So you have to be prepared of this one as well and learn about this technology of WebEx, learn about the software of Google Meet and so on. Be familiarized with all of these things. It's not necessarily for you to be master on everything such as Google Meet or WebEx and so on. But when the people ask you to share your slide presentation, at least you know the important part of that one. Don't ask the examiners, where can I find this sharing button, sir? So a lot of examiners, they feel very annoying on that question because of you are the PhD or master student. You should have in your mind the preparation of this one at a very early stage as possible. All right. Okay. Doctor, have you created this presentation? It is a team or created each slide separately apart from the team, just getting an idea to design mine. Oh, this one. Oh man. Later on, I will explain on this one. Okay, no problem. But I will focus on this one first. All right. So don't forget to ask me again later. All right. So number 4, be ready at least 1 hour before session. Iterate while waiting. Iterate while waiting. Yeah, you got what I mean. Okay, you have to practice while you are waiting. Because of you want to reduce your nervousness. And believe me, when you talk, when you do the iteration, you will feel more confident and you can reduce your nervousness. Be focused. All right. And then pray, be confident, be animated. Don't just be there like like nothing happens, just only your mouth moving around and so on. No, it's not good at all. You have to free yourself, you have to be relaxed, be confident, and project your voice properly, manage your time. Now, currently we have this online session. Of course, you can have the watch in front of you. You can have the wordings, you can display at your screen without the examiners know what happened in your screen and so on. You have a lot of opportunities to score in the proposal defense during this pandemic time. So please use this time wisely. All right. Okay. So this one is the presentation outlines. So please be aware of this one as well. This is not for you to follow 100%. This is general guidance only, guys, because of different supervisors have different techniques. And the priority number 1 is your supervisor. Please consult your supervisor first about the structure of the presentation of the proposal defense and so on. But for my case, for my students, I love to encourage them to follow on this structure, basically for the majority of the quantitative students, you know. So this is the introduction, what we want to explain in the introduction. Do we have to explain everything? Not necessarily. For example, for my case, I didn't put the research background. You know, as you can see, I put the problem statement, I put the research aim, research question, research objective, the gap, significance of study, scope, and limitation. But of course, if you want to put yours, for example, research background, it's up to you. There is no specific guidance for the students what you should present in the proposal defense. But of course, you have to explain about the problem statement because of the center of your research is based on the problem statement. Without a problem statement, you don't have any direction of your research. So this one is basically the general what we call overview of what is the thing that you should present in your you put in your presentation slides. And then we have the literature review as well. So what about the literature review? Is it necessary for us to present everything inside the literature review? We have around 30 pages in the literature review. We want to compress everything and put inside the presentation slides to make sure that everybody is understand or everybody is in the know of what we are doing. So this is the most challenging part of the students. Whenever it comes to the literature review, they will have a problem, you know, in order to compress everything into the slide presentation. No worries, I will show after this what kind of thing you can do and what is the thing that you want to put in your slide presentation to be ensure that your presentation is effective enough and can address every single thing in your literature review. All right, so question in the chat room. Okay. Which is the best software? Oh my God, the direction of this one is no, towards the cosmetic design. Later on, we will discuss about this one. Okay, is there any contribution of presentation in the grade presenter gets from the examiner at the end? Of course, definitely. The presentation marks, of course, you will have the marks as well. Check with your faculty. Different faculty, they have different rubrics for this one. And of course, you must have to keep updated with the latest rubrics for the proposal defense marks and so on. All right. Okay. So we have the literature review. We have to explain what is the underpinning theory and the variables of your literature review. Guys, anybody from here is the first semester of your PhD or master? Anybody, guys? First semester of your PhD or master? Meaning you're still in the process of taking the research methodology and so on. Anybody, guys? First semester.
Doctor, I'm in my third semester taking research methodology and project one, most project one decisions.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Okay, all right. For the students who are in the first semester, please, you have to understand about this theory and variable in your research methodology class. Believe me, it is extremely important for you to have the understanding of both of this theory and variables for your PhD, for your master preparation. Okay, so use the opportunity whenever you have to meet the lecturers who are good enough or who are expert in the research methodology and ask them, okay, about this theory and variables related in the research for the PhD and for the master. It's going to be very, 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 very important. All right. Okay. Yeah, Siti Saima. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining this session. Okay. Oh, several students from the first semester. That's great. You're joining this one. Okay. Don't worry. You still have a lot of time. Okay. Do we need the highlight and the limitation in the presentation defense? Do we need to highlight the limitation in the presentation defense? Yes. You need to highlight the scope and limitation in the proposal defense. For my student, I asked them to prepare this one as well. Okay, research objective and research aims are different? Yes, different. Okay, difference between research design and research approach. Oh my God, this one is going to be in depth. Towards the research methodology. I assume that we should have another session for the research methodology alone, because of this is just only for the research proposal. But don't worry, I will explain first on this one. We will discuss about this later on, okay? Later on. All right, for the methodology, we have the research design, we have the research approach, participant and procedures, measures, analytical procedures, and so on. So this one is going to be quite flexible, guys. Sometimes for the students, they want to explain more. Some of the students, they want to explain perhaps less on this one, but please be careful. You have to identify, you have to address every single thing that I have put here, okay, such as research design approach, participant, measures, analytical procedure, because of this is going to be your plan for the methodology. All right. So if you are not sufficiently explained about this one, it's going to be a big problem for you guys, because of the examiners will assume that you don't understand the step of doing the research method. And when you don't understand the step of doing the research method for your research, there is no point for you to conduct the research. All right. So please, study about this literature review of the variables and the methodology as well. I believe that your supervisors can share a lot of information with you, inshallah. All right. So we have the conclusion, such as the time scale. We have to put the references. Why you have to put the references? Because of you must show that to the audience or to the examiners that you have the latest references. You have the right justification on your paper, on your planning, and so on. Without putting the references, people don't know that where is your centric of your study, what is your reference, how old is your reference, is it relevant for the current research, and so on. So you have to put the references. All right. And you have to have the publication as well. Later we discuss about this one. All right. Okay. So guys, any question up to this level regarding on this one? Any question? Okay, let me look into the chat first. What is the specific thesis, problem, or research question that my literature review helps to define? What is the specific thesis, problem, or research question that my literature review helps to define? Oh, I cannot get this question very much, but this one is not related to each other actually. For the introduction and the literature review, because of I put in the different column, if that is what you mean. Because of in the literature review, we have to explain about theory and variables involved in your study. So after this, I will show you what is the example of the theory and what is the example of the variable in the literature review. All right. Okay, what is the difference between problem statement and research gap? I will show after this. What to add in measures and analytical procedure? Please elaborate. Of course, I will elaborate everything. Okay, we have a lot more time. Could you please elaborate more on analytical? Yes, definitely, I will elaborate measures. Any participant from, oh my God, okay. Salam Doctor, considering that we are presenting our proposal defense our third semester, do we have to include preliminary study findings or show a draft of our interview instrument or survey? Of course, you have to show your measures or interview instrument or survey instrument or questionnaire instrument and so on. You have to show, because of the panels going to approve or the panels going to allow you to do the data collection after that. And without showing that one to the panels and so on, to your supervisors and so on, it's going to be a hard time for you to run for the research. Okay, all right. What does time scale mean? Okay. Okay, guys, no worries. I will explain. I still have a lot of slides to go on, so thank you very much for your patience. Okay. So this is just the first slide to explain about the previous table. So I will explain in depth one by one. Okay. So for the introduction, again, you have to explain about this problem statement. What is the problem that you're facing in this current situation? Why your research is important? What happened if you don't have this research or action to be taken, and so on. So you have the research aim, you have the research question, objective, gap, significance of study, scope, and limitation. But of course, I'm not going to explain every single thing in this one up until the end of the chapters, because we don't have enough time to focus on each one of the items, right? So I'm just focusing on the things that is important for you guys to focus on, and later you can do your own research to complement other component, other parts, because of we have a very limited time. All right. So this is some example of the research question and research objective. For those students in the third semester, you must already know that what is your research question, what is your research objective, and so on. And a lot of students, they put research question in different slides, research objective in the different slides. It's up to you guys, no problem. But for me, the most promising ways of doing this is basically for you to combine and to compare, because of whenever you have the question, do you have the objective to answer the research question or not? So for example, this one, is there any relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance? So we have the research objective one to examine the relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance. So easily you can see we have the answer to this research question in terms of the research objective. So it is very simple one because of we can compare in the left and right position. So this is the way of doing the research question and research objective in the proposal defense. So it is very easy for the examiners to digest in this one, as well as easy for you to explain to the examiners. You don't have to put a very lengthy words, you know. You don't have to put a lot of graphical in this one because of it's going to be a straightforward. This is the most important part in your thesis because of this is the heart of your thesis, the objective. All right. RQ and ROs should be in the same number. Okay, right. How many numbers of RQ should be there? This is a trivia question. It's up to your research. Up to your research. It's up to your research. What kind of things you want to explore in your research. But usually, from my experience, for the master level and PhD level, usually you have at least you have 4 and more objectives. Okay, for my PhD as well, I have 7 objectives. I have 7 RQs. Okay, research question and research objective. So this one you have to discuss with your supervisor because of it is depending on the nature of your study. All right. So it's not the same for everybody. So you can discuss with your supervisor. All right. Doctor, we have to formulate RO first, followed by RQs. So as you can see here, the basic rule of thumb for the RO or RQ is basically, you know, you can do vice versa actually. But the thing is, whenever you have the research objective, it is easily for you to design for the research question. For example, to examine the relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance. And now you are putting this research objective into the question manner. All right. Is there any relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance? All right. So this is one of the way of doing this, you know, RO and RQ, very simple way. But again, please, refer back to your research methodology class, and of course to your supervisor to ensure that this is aligned with your scope as well. All right. Doctor, may I know the questionnaire validity by expert verification and pilot test must be due before or after defense proposal? Okay, questionnaire validity must be done before the proposal defense. And pilot test must be done as well before the proposal defense. Okay, before the proposal defense. Why? Because of you want to validate your questionnaire and to show to the audience as well. All right. I hope that answer your question. Okay, so this one is basically the research gap identification. So as you can see here, the example of a research gaps. All right, you can read from here. Research gap identified. A study of the changes over the last decade. Okay, so this is the research gap for the study of the changes over the last decade. There have been a number of valuable studies of self-employed, okay, using blah, 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 and blah, 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 all of which present evidence on a number employment and personal characteristic on the sector. However, none of these studies provides a picture of the changes over the last decade or forecast the trends in self-employment as the recession of 1990 took hold. So again, however is the key here because of you want to show the gap of the knowledge over here. There is a gap of the knowledge over here that you want to show.
I have a question, Doctor.
Yeah, please.
When you word it like that, however, none of these studies provide. So won't I be challenged by the panel? How thorough is your literature? Can that question be posed? And how am I to handle that situation?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes you have to convince the examiners through the evidence that you have from the list of the literatures. So you have to show that this is the list of the literatures that I went through. But again, if you have any advice on this one, on improvement on this one, I will be ready to improve on this method of the write-ups. But again, it's not necessarily for all of these people to address through this way. This is just only the example, for the research gap to show
Okay,
that
okay.
how you
Yeah.
want to address the research gap. Okay,
All
please.
right, thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for the question. All right. Okay, I hope you guys will understand. What is the research gap? Basically, when we found a gap, there is some insufficient information about some of the areas that we want to do a research on that one, interconnection. So you have to focus on the gaps because of a lot of panels, we will be asking the same question. What is the gap of your study? What is the gap of your study and so on? So you have to find this gap. For example, some of the studies of the SMEs mainly focuses on the what we call SMEs in the man-oriented SMEs, for example, but less focus on the women entrepreneurs, for example. So whenever you cannot find the literatures regarding on the women entrepreneurs and so on, and some of the researchers they also mentioned that there is urgency needs for the study in terms of the women entrepreneurs in Nigeria, for example. So you already have the gap over there. All right. So you have the gap because of this urgency for people to do the research in terms of this one. All right. So you have to be, looking around on this one. You have to do a lot of research. Surely you will find something. And a lot of research gap could be found in the conclusion of the journal papers. Okay, when you go to the conclusion, you go to the recommendation of the journal papers and so on, you can see the recommendation, there is agency to study more in terms of this one, in terms of the qualitative, there is more of study on this one in terms of the, new norms and so on. So that is your bunch of the research gaps. Please do your best in terms of finding that, right? Okay, so this is for the research gap, and this is for the statement, the problems. All right. So what is the problem statement and what is the difference between the research gap? Of course, you want to be more focused in your research. All right. So this is basically provides an overview of the study by stating what the study is about, why is it important and timely, what contribution are made to the knowledge and practice, how the study fits in the existing knowledge, and tells the story behind the variables or the concept to be studied, and provides background for the purpose statement and research question. All right, I give you some tips, some of the case of this one. Okay, as you can see there, a more recent developmental research in Humla and Mugu district of Nepal found that in the case of remote community catchment of this district, 5 out of 7 children under 5 years were affected by malnutrition, where 3 of those 5 were in severe status of malnutrition. So you have this one at the very first line. This is the problem. This is the problem. Thus, it is a daunting task for all actors of development to reach to the bottom of the cause, to reach to the bottom of the cause and address the situation as soon as possible. The call for study, the call for research to find out the bottom of the cause and to address the situation as soon as possible. Otherwise meaning without this study, without this research, without your solution, the communities will be unable to bear the consequences. So this is how you explain about your problem statement. You have the problem, you have the suggestion. What if the suggestion is not, is not being initiated and so on? So otherwise, the communities will be unable to bear the consequences. But believe me, a lot of other references you can find through the online and so on how to design a problem statement in the PhD or in the master. So you have to, you have to look into this in detail, and you have to do the research as well. And in the Google Scholar, I believe that you can check in as well, guys. You refer on the Google Scholar and type in the Google Scholar what is the best way of doing the problem statement write-up and so on. A lot of comparison studies on how to do the problem statement write-ups. Okay, you have to dig on this information. All right. Okay. So we have this underpinning theory. So in your research, of course, when you want to do anything about your research, you must be based on the theory, not coming from nowhere, not coming from yourself. It must be a reference for you guys. How you want to present this underpinning theory to your audience and so on, you have just to put the theory over there. Alright, very simple one. And you want to explain verbally to the audience. You have to explain it one by one. What is the elements of the underpinning theory, such as what is the characteristics, what is the elements in the characteristics, and how you want to relate with your study, and what is the aims, what is the motivation, what is the how do you develop the conceptual framework from this theory. You have to explain on that one as well. All right. So basically, your study is based on this theory. So you have at least you have a very strong what we call references to start with your study without having to worry anymore, because of the examiners would love to ask you, what is your theory? What is your underpinning theory? What is your model that you refers to, and so on. So this is the way of doing the explanation to your underpinning theory and so on. If you have more than one, just put it there, more than one. It's okay, no problem at all. All right. Okay, so this is how you want to explain about this literature review. Please pay full attention on this one. This is very important. A lot of students, they are mistakenly, present the literature review in a very messy manner. They put everything in a very single page. They put several pages to explain everything about literature review. The thing is, you have to focus on your variables in your study. In your literature review. For those who already went through the class of the research methodology, you will have to develop your framework and so on. You will have to have the IV and DV components and so on. You will have the moderators, mediators, and so on. So again, the direction of explanation for the literature review must be based on this variables. You cannot go beyond that, because of in your proposal defense, you must be you must take good enough in terms of what is the components in your study. You must explain within the scope of your variables, not going beyond that, because of you want to have a focus on your study. All right. So for example, this one in the variables, I have this IV number one, knowledge acquisition, or independent variable. Number one, knowledge acquisition. For those who are still in the first semester, you can refer to your supervisor after this, or after you're going through the class of the research methodology. I believe that you will understand on all of this one, and I hope that you can discover by yourself as well. Take some time on your free times. Do some studies on this one, the research methodologies, variables in the study, variables in the research, and so on. Believe me, it's going to be very important for you in order for you to start with your PhD write-ups. All right. So, for example, knowledge acquisition. I just picked several quotes or several important statements from the literature review, the summary or summative overview of the IV number one, the knowledge acquisition. And this one as well, it's not necessarily for you to follow 100%, but you can do as mine here. You can refer as mine here, and you can put more than one references. All right, more than one reference. So you can put a few, but please make sure that from the write-ups you put over there, the examiners or the people, they can easily digest the thing there, and the rest is up to you on how you want to explain on these variables or dimension. All right, so this is very important. You want to make it as simple as you could, as at the same time impactful as you could. Okay, all right. So as well as for the number two, IV number two, outsourcing innovation, I just put a few words over there to explain what is the outsourcing innovation, why is it important, and so on. And DV, what we call dependent variables. All right, what is the firm performance, the measurement, and so on. Okay, and I have as well the moderator. This is some example. All right, it's not for everybody to use the same way as mine, but this is some guidance for you guys, for you to refer with. At least you have in your mind, oh, this is the way of doing the presentation. I don't have to put everything in my slide. Yes, of course, you don't have to put everything in your slide presentation. Otherwise, you don't have to prepare the slide presentation. You just prepare the thesis presentation. Okay, all right. So you just have to make sure everything in the very good manner, easy for you to explain, as well as you are not lost of your points. All right. So I believe that through this session, for those who are already in the semester number 3, semester number 2, and so on, you already understand very much about this hypothesis development, because from the literature review, the step number 1 is basically we are going to explain every single thing in the variables that we have in the context. We also explain about the context of the industry, of the background of the study, and so on in the literature review. So we already explained everything. Now we want to interconnect all of those variables based on our conceptual framework through the hypothesis development. So through this one as well, when we have the hypothesis development, how do you want to address the hypothesis development? Through the relationship between variables. This one is the table to show everything about this, how to explain about on how to develop your hypothesis development in the slides very easily. So for example, if you have this IV1, the relationship between IV1 and DV1. Of course, you will have to explain how do you develop this one, how do you get this relationship. So you have to explain through, through here, knowledge acquisition impacts innovation and firm performance. You have to find the reference, you have to find the literature on this one and explain a bit on how you get the relationship between IV1 and DV1 as well. So it's very simple paragraph over there, and you put the references as well for the panels to know that, oh, there is a prior relationship on this one. So you do this on the basis of the study. There is some analysis has been done before. So you want to refine, you want to do by your own, you want to start by having some other relationship and so on in depth in your area. So it should be okay. All right. So you put your hypothesis 1. There is a positive relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance. It's okay then. So for the panels, when they look into your relationship, or now you have the relationship, now you prove that you have the literature on this one, on the relationship. So it's not coming from out of nowhere. You are not just getting from the sky and so on. So you are basically getting this from the previous study and so on to support your hypothesis development. Then it's okay. So you do the same thing for the H1, H2, H3 up until the H4. So you have everything in your slide presentation already. You address everything without having to put so many things in your proposal defense. Okay, believe me, when you do this through this way, or either maybe you want to put some graphical, impression and so on, it's up to you. But keep things simple. Believe me, it's going to be very pleased for the, examiners and so on to digest your things. But push more on your explanation. Push more on that one. Okay, all right. Okay, guys, do you have any question on this one? Okay.
No question, thank you.
Oh my God, no question. Okay, that's great. I hope that everybody is still in front of the screen right now. You know, during this pandemic, I don't know, some of the cases, we are talking alone. So hopefully all of you are still in front of the screen, digesting things. Please, if you have any problem in terms of you need me to slow down, you need me to go faster and so on, please let me know. Okay, all right. This is two-way communication. It's not just only me who's speaking in front of the screen. Okay, all right. Thank you again, guys. I will continue.
We're still with you, Doctor. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right. So after we explain, now the first step is basically we explain about the research objective, research question, and then we explain about the literature review. The literature review is basically we explain one by one dimension or variables. It's a very simple one. After we explain the variables, after you understand, oh, this is the variables A, variable B, variable C, and so on, and then you move into the interconnection by using the hypothesis development. Through that, you connect from point A to point B and so on based on the previous research. You interlink, you linkages all those, relationship and so on, one by one. And now, as a conclusion, you will have to propose a conceptual framework that consists of all of the hypotheses combined into one research framework. So this is the proposed conceptual framework, as easy as this one. As you can see previously, I put the relationship, knowledge acquisition positively related to the firm performance, H1. So we're already done for this one, H1. There is a positive relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance. So we have this one. So it is also correlated and corroborated with a research objective to examine the relationship between knowledge acquisition and firm performance. So we go back, okay, to examine. So we have to examine the knowledge acquisition and the firm performance. All right, it's very clear, very simple. And objective number 2, to examine or to study the relation between outsourcing and the firm performance as well. So the hypothesis number 2, there is a positive significant relationship between outsourcing innovation and the firm performance. So this is all the things that we want to put in the summary for our proposed conceptual framework in a very easy, what we call layman's term, in terms of doing this, easily for the panels to digest, for the examiners to digest, and so on. So again, I didn't put anything to mess up over there and here. I just put the conceptual framework here. But it's up to your creativity on how you want to impress people. Sometimes some of the students are creative enough to put some of the pictures and so on just to attract on how you want to make sure that the layman or the person or the examiners understand the context of your study. It's okay then. It's up to you. No problem. But the focus is the heart of your study is this one. This is the heart of your study. So you have to focus on explaining on this one. All right? Okay, guys. Any question on this conceptual framework? Please, any question?
Hi, Doc. Can I have a question?
Yeah, please.
Can you illustrate the difference between theoretical framework and the conceptual framework? I'm still confused by these two terms. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that very, very challenging question. Okay, for theoretical framework, basically you want to develop your framework based on the theoretical part. You want to improvise the current theoretical framework. For example, you have the theoretical framework of the resource-based view, for example. So you want to start developing your framework up from that theory, all right, theoretical framework. But for the conceptual framework, it's up to your flexibility on how you want to develop based on the current practices in the what we call in the industry, in the norms of the people, and so on. So again, it's not bound to the what we call theoretical development as much. But for the theoretical development or theoretical conceptual theoretical framework, you have to be based on the theory. All right, you have to be based on the theory to develop your framework. So from the theory, you improvise and you develop new framework. So that's what we call a theoretical framework. From the conceptual, you want to develop the conceptual by yourself, by your readings, by your research, and so on, up to this level. As you can see from this idea, let me show you something. So for example, we have the underpinning theory of this one. Let's say the number of this theory is theory number A. So if I want to develop a theoretical framework, I will be based on this one and I develop starting from this framework. But what I'm doing is basically I'm proposing a conceptual framework, which is I just take a few things from this one and I develop a new framework. So this is a conceptual framework. I hope that you can get the idea.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Walaikum salam. All right.
I'm Alia. Okay, Doctor, my framework is based on previous model, like entrepreneurship potential model.
Okay.
So for that, should I write a proposed conceptual framework or theoretical framework?
Is it I cannot see your model here, of course, so I cannot put a full justification on here. But again, if you follow the theoretical part of the framework very much, so it is better for you to keep on the theoretical framework. But if you develop something that is very new, different from the theoretical framework, just take a few part of it. So it is a conceptual framework. All right. So I hope that I answer your question.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, all right. You're welcome.
Hi,
Sorry,
Doctor.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Which one is more general, the theoretical framework or the conceptual framework?
It depends on your study and your aims as well. For the PhD student, usually if you want to come up with a new theoretical, you want to challenge a previous theoretical theory and so on, you can come up with a theoretical framework. For example, if you want to, do a study in terms of developing new theory or something like that, then you focus on the theoretical framework. But for those who blend in terms of the what we call practical information, practical and academics information, for example, you want to come up with a new model for the industry to practice on the innovation, for example, in that way. So it is better to focus on the conceptual framework because of it is blend with the practical and with the academics and so on. So I hope that I address your answer.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. You're welcome.
Hi, Doctor. Hi, Doctor.
Yeah. Okay, please.
I have a question, Doctor.
Yeah.
Still on the conceptual framework. Can a researcher adopt someone's conceptual framework, or he or she must compose his own?
Okay, all right. Your question is basically, can we adopt the conceptual framework from others to be used in our study, isn't it?
Yes.
It depends on your level of study. If you're in the level of the masters, you still can adopt new the conceptual framework from others and improvise a bit. But for the PhD, because of you are the owner of the new framework and so on, it is better for you to develop your own framework rather than to adopt. All right?
Okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, all right. You're welcome. Okay, guys, thank you very much for the feedbacks, for the question, and so on. It's very engaging session. I love that way of you guys, so that I know that I'm not talking alone here. All right. So we move into the methodology. A lot of question previously about this methodology. Again, we don't have all day to discuss on this matter. You have, you can discuss later on in detail about the conceptual, theoretical framework and so on with your supervisors, as well as about the methodology and so on after this. Okay, right? So I believe that we have a very limited time today. Sorry. I want to ask the organizer, based on our schedule, do we have to put a break here for a while?
Yeah, you may, Doctor. Can we have a break around 3 to 5 minutes?
Okay, all right. So we have a break around 3 minutes, eh?
Yeah, 3 minutes, Doctor Ken.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, guys, we're going to have a 3 minutes break.
Hello to all participants. Again, I would like to remind to all of you, please fill up this attendance link, form link, so you can get this link at the chat box. So please check your chat box right now. Thank you so much.
Okay, I believe that we already passed 3 minutes right now. Can we continue, guys?
Doctor,
Yes.
you may continue. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Samsul. Okay, all right. So we are continuing our, session by focusing on the next part of the proposal defense presentation, by which how you are going to explain about your research method. Okay. Again, please, this one is just only a general recommendation. So it's up to you on how you want to implement in your research methodology presentation. I believe that you have your own, interpretation in this one. And you have your own advisors to advise you on this matter as well. So please, refer to more than one, references. So it is better for you to have to diverse your knowledge in the about this presentation skills, right? So okay, so basically on this one, on the methodology, you have to state your strategy on this research methodology. So for example, I put here quantitative research strategy. So for those who are doing the qualitative, you can put whatever you have here, qualitative research strategy and so on. So since this one is just only one time to be done for the research design, so you can put a cross section. Question, guys? Any question? No question. Okay, all right. So for the unit of analysis, for example, if you put the individuals as your respondent and so on, you can state here individuals. But if the respondent is the owner of one company, organization, and so on, so you have to explain this one as well. But as you can see here, I put a very simple point over here just to show that the thing that you want to focus on your research methodology, and the rest is your explanation on this one. You don't have to put a very extensive things here because of you don't want to mess the slides presentation as well. You don't want to make of course the examiners and so on feel very hard times in understanding your slides presentation. Rather than it's better than you explain to them what is the elements in your research methodology and directly to the point. Okay, don't go around the bush. It's very, very simple terms of the presentation. All right. And then what is the sectors they are focusing on? For example, I put the manufacturing SMEs. You can go deeper in this one for the level of PhD. For example, manufacturing of steel in SMEs and so on. It's up to you on how you want to focus based on your context of your study. But again, people know that you have to focus in your study as well. And for the survey techniques, if you have the survey instrument or questionnaire, you just put here the questionnaire and so on. And what is your population and sample size, your sample and so on, sampling techniques, for example, purposive sampling techniques and so on. So this is a very, very brief about the chapter 3, but you already addressed most of the things, right? Okay.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about the unit of analysis. Here it's referring to individuals, and the sectors here referring to manufacturers, SMEs. My question is it like it's supposed to be organization, the unit of analysis here?
Oh, no, it's not necessarily. This one is basically for you to put the way of doing the presentation. I'm not talking about this is related to each other. Okay.
So it's not like the right way. It's not correct, right?
This one is not actually. It's not related to each other. This is one of the example. Just only the example.
Okay, just example. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the question. All right. So,
Doctor, can I ask another question, please?
Yes, please.
What do you mean by cross-sectional? Because I see it a lot in several studies, but until now I didn't get what do they mean by cross-sectional.
Cross-sectional is one time only, one time research, one time data collection.
What do you mean by one time? Means only one.
Yes, one time only.
Yeah. They don't do it during. You mean during time? It just only once. It happens only once, right?
Yes, definitely one time only. Okay, all right. So you can check further in the research methodology class later on. I'm not, of course, I love to explain everything about this one, but the focus of our talk today is basically on how to present your proposal defense. But again, later after this, perhaps you can have a lot more session on discussing on the chapter 3, discussing on the references and so on later on. All right. So, okay, thank you very much for your question.
So I have a question too. My question is, can we have it exactly the way it is?
Again, I cannot hear you very well, please.
Can we have these outlines, the methodology, can we have it exactly like this on our slides? Or is this just an example?
I barely hear your voice. So sorry. You must go.
Can you hear me now?
Hello? Or you can type into the chat room.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm with you. Can you hear me now?
Okay. That's better.
Okay. I said the methodology.
Okay.
The one you posted just now. I said, can we have it exactly like that on the slides?
No problem. It's up to you. No problem. This is one example I show you. No problem. Okay, but you have to explain in detail because of in my approach, as well as I suggested to my students as well, you don't have to put a lot of things in your slide presentation because of, you know, the examiners will be very tiring looking into your lot of information. You have to be very focused. You know, you have to explain in a very simple way. You know, so that the examiners understand your concern and so on. So again, for my case, I just put here the what we call the short terms, and I explain every single detail in a very detailed manner. So whenever the examiners ask me, I can answer the question because of I understand the concept of this one. But if you don't have the knowledge of this one, it is better for you to put in detail. But for me, I think I encourage the student, less is better. Less is better. All right. So I hope that you get what I mean.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Just have it
Okay.
and explain. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay. So now we move into the measures. Again, we have to complete the what we call the questionnaire design first at the very first place before we can proceed with the proposal defense. And now how to show the questionnaire design is up either there are so many ways on how to show the questionnaire design. But for my suggestion, it is better to show that through this way of the measures. For example, we have the questionnaire items. Yeah, please, question. Okay, all right. Mistakenly switch on the microphone. Okay, all right. So we put a measurement like this. 5-point Likert scale will be used where 1 strongly disagree and 5 strongly agree. So this one is very common things. And this is the way of you presenting the questionnaire design. But if the examiners ask you to show the full scale of your what we call questionnaire design and so on, please be prepared because of a lot of what we call examiners, they love to see your questionnaire design and so on. And I believe that through your appendices as well, when you finish up your proposal defense, what we call chapter 1 to 3, and you put in the appendices as well the reference, the questionnaire design and so on, the examiners already went through with your questionnaire and so on. So we just want to put a summary over here. For example, for the variable number 1, IV1, you have the sources. This is just the way of doing the presentation. But for your case, you can put more than one source. All right. So it is supposed to be more than one sources to refer with for the items developed for your questionnaire design. So this is some of the example on how you want to organize your items for your questionnaire design and how to translate this one into the presentation way of proposal defense. I hope that you can get it, guys. It's a very simple one. Okay. Okay. Any question on this one? Any question? Okay. I believe there is no question. Okay. Right.
Dear Prof, I have a question. I have posted. I posted in the group. Do we need to compute neutral in our analysis?
Again?
Do we need to compute neutral in our analysis?
Oh, neutral. What do you mean by neutral?
Neutral when we are design questionnaire on 5-point Likert scale. So neutral is always a number 3.
Okay, all right. Depending on your scale, if you want to put neutral as well, no problem at all. You can show it here as well. But if you want to don't want to put, for example, your Likert scale is 1 to 7, 1 is strongly disagree and 7 is strongly agree, you don't have, or you could mention as well the neutral, no problem at all. And because of this, it is a general information to every single examiner. But whatever they ask you, in case, although in my experience, I never asked the student where is the neutral, what happened to the neutral, and so on. But again, it's good practice for you to have the preparation to answer that question as well. Why your Likert scale is 1 to 7, not 1 to 6, not 1 to 4, and so on. So you have to prepare that answer as well. And refer to Herr et al. Refer to Herr et al. You will find a lot of information about that scale. Believe me. All right. Thank you very much, and I hope they understand. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we move to the analytical procedure. I believe that some of the students asking me on this one. Of course, a very simple one, analytical procedure. What kind of analysis that we want to run, that we will be running for the questionnaire, for the analysis, for the response that we obtain from the fieldwork and so on. So of course, we want to involve with the normality of data. But again, this is the way of doing the presentation, not the content. Okay, the content you can enhance by yourself by referring to the research methodology class, your supervisors and so on. I just put here some of the points that I have in my own class, my own students, okay? So you have the normality of the data, you have the outliers, you want to explain about the missing values and engage responses, online approaches for design questionnaire and so on, exploratory factor analysis, regression, analysis of moderation, mediation. Some of you want to explain about the use of other software rather than SPSS, perhaps. This is where you should put all of your analytical procedures. No problem at all. Just a very simple manner. So you don't have to show the table. You don't have to show the things. You just show in very, very simple points so that the examiners will understand you directly to the point. So the rest of it, you just have to convince them why you want to use this, why you want to run through this procedure, why you want to use SPSS, why you want to use the smart PLS, and so on. What is the drive factors that makes you want to do that way and through that way? All right. So you have to make sure you understand the whole concept of this chapter number 3, research methodology. Okay. All right. Please, because of the examiners will ask you in detail about this one. Why? Because of they want to make sure that you really understand what the thing that you propose here you can run by yourself without any problems, right? Okay, so in the conclusion, we still have a lot of slides to go on. Don't worry. Okay, all right. So conclusion for the during presentation time, during presentation of the proposal defense. Of course, you will have to provide as well the planning time scale in terms of the Gantt chart. What is the planning for your research? For example, you plan to finish up GOT, graduate on time. So you just prepare the Gantt chart for the approach. For example, year number 1, you want to prepare for the literature review. Semester number 2 for that one. Semester number 3 for data collection and so on. And preparation of the write-ups for chapter 4, chapter 5, and so on. So you just put in the Gantt chart. This one, you don't have, actually, we never provided any standards to the student. It's up to you. Some of the students never provided this one, which is quite bad actually. But if you have enough resources, enough time and so on, please prepare this one as well, so that we know that you are in the stage of, preparing yourself in a very good manner. All right. So second one, of course, you have to have the publication. If I'm not mistaken, currently, if you want to go for a proposal defense, you must have at least article accepted by any journals. All right. So you have to show that one as well in your presentation, the publication that you already submitted and the acceptance letter you obtained from this one. Even better if the paper is already accepted by the journals and so on, it will be a bonus point for you guys because of your paper already published in the good quality journals. So why bother to asking you more about this one? So you can easily pass the proposal defense, hopefully. All right. And then you must put the references as well, as I said previously, to show that to the audience that, oh, this is my references. I know what I'm doing. So the context of study is still in the same context of study and so on. So the references also, the recent one, 5 years recent and so on. And the last one, of course, you want to open for the Q&A session. So this is the conclusion for the proposal defense, on how you want to make sure that you can do a good proposal defense to your PhD or to your master as well. Okay, before we move to the next one, any question, guys, on this one? Any question?
Excuse me, Doctor.
Yeah, please.
About the reference, because we have like a lot of reference. So which one that we need to include in the proposal defense?
Oh, the one actually in your proposal, in your presentation or proposal?
In the proposal defense, in the presentation, yeah.
In the presentation, okay. In the presentation, you can put every single references in 2 or 3 slides, no problem. But you don't have to explain one by one, just to show to your examiners. Okay, just to show to your examiners as a proof. Oh, this is the references that we have to show that it is a very in term of very strategic in the very what we call sequence thing, and then you show that the year of the references to convince the examiners and so on. It's a very good effort, but you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain one by one. Just show to your examiners. It will be a good thing to be done. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. You're welcome. Okay.
I got a question, Doc.
Yeah, please.
Okay, coming back to the questions on questionnaires, so can we mix up the questionnaire?
You mix up the questionnaire? What do you mean by that?
No, can we mix up? In other words, we take certain part from one literature, then another one from another articles, and we combine it. Is that possible?
Yeah, no worries, because of you can cite the source of your questionnaire if you adopt to the questionnaire, no problem at all.
I know, adopt and adapt on the same element, that certain part, say for example 1 to 10 I adopt from journal A, 11 to 20 I adopt from journal B or something like that. Is that possible?
Yeah, no worries at all. It's possible.
Okay, then the following question is, then how do I know that the questionnaire that I have thought of is actually a good questionnaire? How do I know?
Okay, that's why the pilot study comes in. The pilot analysis. Yeah, pilot analysis. You have to test the questionnaire through the face validity, which is you can refer with the experts or the other lecturers and so on to validate your questionnaire, number 1. And number 2 is basically you run the data collection and do the reliability test. So you can check the questionnaire, is it good or not, through the Chromebook Alpha. Okay.
But since we adopt and adapt, it's supposed to be good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be okay because of it's already established. It's not developed by yourself. Okay.
But we still have to run the validity again. You mean?
Yes, we still have to run because of you mix everything in this different groups and so on. Sometimes you have to run for the EFA, exploratory factor analysis, to make sure that you remove the factor loadings and so on among the variables in the questionnaire, so you can keep up with the best only. All right.
Okay, Doc, thanks. So once we mix means we have to run the validity lah. Otherwise it's not accepted lah. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. Thanks for the question. Okay. Okay, all right. Now we are moving into these common mistakes done by the students, and I hope that through this common mistake, as I explained to you, please don't repeat this again, because of the majority of the students, they are doing the same thing every time the proposal defense happens. Common mistake number 1 is basically typesetting, referencing, grammatical errors, and so on. So this shows that you are not prepared very much for the proposal defense because of you are doing the things in the very last minute. So it is better for you to prepare. Hello? Okay, all right. So some echoes over there. Okay, all right. So please, please be careful in this one. Double check your proposal, double check your slide presentation. And believe me, the first impression comes from this one. Okay, whenever the examiners check your proposal defense, they check your papers and so on, we can see easily your grammatical errors and so on, and how careless you are with the formattings and so on. Portrays yourself, right? Portrays yourself. So if you are a very organized person, for sure that you take care of everything in the very first place. But normally we can see at least one or two mistakes, no problem at all. But if there every single pages when we move forward, we can see the mistakes again and again and so on. It is a very bad impression from the examiners as well. So please be prepared, and in this way is the one way of how you want to impress your examiners of when evaluating your paper. All right. And common mistake number 2 is basically outdated references. It's supposed to be 5 years recent, So this one you have to be careful because of UTM is very, strict on this one. So please make sure that you update your references. That's why the use of the endnotes, Mendeley, and so on. The skill of getting the references from the Google Scholar and so on is very, very critical and vital in this one. All right. Okay, there is a question. In PD, need to explain about preliminary findings. Preliminary findings. No, you have to explain about the pilot test only. Yeah. I will share the PowerPoint over there. I will share the PowerPoint. How to plan for the GOT? Oh my God, it's very very open-ended question. Okay, at time of
sorry for that.
Okay. All right. Please.
Yeah, Doctor, I have a question regarding the pilot test as a validation for the questions in the questionnaire. If there is a question as a self-designed question, is the pretest is enough to justify the validity of this self-designed question, or we need to do extra efforts?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Self-developed questionnaire, you have to, number one, you have to be very careful in doing this development of self-developed questionnaire. You can do it, of course, but you must have a very strong arguments, very strong supporting evidence in terms of the literature review to support that. Why you don't use the existing questionnaire in the question? So you have to be able to answer this one. So let's say you already finished on the developing your self-developed questionnaire. So now you are moving into the first phase of 3 chapters. So you just only have to do the pilot test for this one, and you have to make sure that the combat alpha is in a good position, which is 0.65 and above. Some of the lecturers, they require 0.7 and above. So you can check on this one first. But later, after you're finished with your proposal defense, you have to run for the EFA, exploratory factor analysis, in order for you to define what is the variables that is suited to the which group and so on. So you have to categorize back all of the elements of your questionnaire. And some of the what we call items in the questionnaire perhaps have the factor loadings, so what we call, you have to remove the items in the questionnaire. So whenever you develop the developed questionnaire, you have to prepare more than normally, meaning for one variable, for example, the rule of thumb, 7 questions, for example, 7 questions for one variable for us to analyze through regression and so on later on. But for you, for the self-developed questionnaire, you might want to develop more than 7, perhaps 10, perhaps 15. Why? Because of when you test for the EFA, some of the factors, some of the items will be removed. So you must, you might want still have to, look into the factors that remaining in your study to make sure that you can run for the regression or other analysis after that. I hope that you can get the
Are we going to present it after or just submit it?
Hello? Okay or not?
All right, thank you, Doctor. It's clear. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, all right.
Doctor?
So, yeah, please, question.
Do we have any software which works with PowerPoint for references?
Pardon? Again?
Any reference manager which works with PowerPoint?
Oh, okay. As far as I know, there is no software to link the references with PowerPoint. But as far as my experience, you don't have to link with the PowerPoint because you can easily copy the references. It's not as extensive as the Microsoft Word because you don't want to copy every single references over there, but certain of the references you want to copy. And it's not necessarily as well when you put the references in the, for example, in the literature review, you must put as well in the below there automatically or behind there. For example, perhaps you use just only 50 references in the slide presentation, But whenever you want to what you want to put in the references list, you can copy every single references you have in your you know three chapter proposal defense in your slide presentation at the end of the presentation. No worries at all. So that's why I say that there is no use for you to use any software, although there is no software for the connectivity between references into the PowerPoint presentation. I hope that you understand the answer.
Doctor, one more thing, Doctor.
Okay, all
What
right.
kind of publication would be sufficient for proposal defense? As we haven't conducted the study yet. So a
Okay,
review
all right.
paper, concept paper, what?
Okay, of course, you have to publish the concept paper at the very first place. Okay, because of you don't have any data yet, right? You just have the conceptual development only. So you just publish your conceptual paper. As my students, well, I ask them to publish whatever you have in the chapter 1 to 3, which is the conceptual paper. Actually, from chapter 1 to 2 only. So you can publish as well for the conceptual paper. All right?
Okay, doctor, I have a
Review.
question.
Okay.
Hello, can I talk?
Doctor, there's a question here, doctor.
Okay, all right. Please. Whatever
Just now I
first.
saw in the chat group that somebody typed, what about qualitative? I think it's referring to just now your slide on quantitative methodology. But there's no slide on the qualitative. Does it follow the same what you call a method in the sense of all the hypotheses and in the variables?
Okay, all right. So the norms in the qualitative is quite different compared to the quantitative, of course. So you have to adjust the slides accordingly. Okay, all right. For example, in the RQ or RO, you see RQ and RO. So some differences in the qualitative study compared to the quantitative study. So you have to be, you have to adjust based on your paper on this one. So this is just only the guidance for you guys, the generalized guidance for you guys. You can still use the same framework as this one. For example, the way of doing the presentation, the flow of this one is almost the same. But the content inside there, of course, there will be a big difference compared to the qualitative one. And why I don't present for the qualitative, because of my defector is basically, my focus is basically on the quantitative. But again, you can use your qualitative content and replace here without any problems. All right. The focus is our talk today is on the way of doing your presentation with a proposal defense and how to answer them. Right. So the tools is still acceptable of doing through this one. But the thing is, please be careful with your content. If you are from the qualitative terms, you have to follow your qualitative terms of doing the write-ups and so on. I hope that I answer your question.
Does it include the hypothesis also for qualitative?
Yeah, if you have any hypothesis for the qualitative, yeah, definitely you have to put that as well. Okay.
All right. Thank you, doctor.
Okay. All right. You're welcome.
I have a question regarding research gap. If
Okay.
you're writing,
was only up to 28. I don't think they're having an answer yet.
Okay, this one. Okay, you have the problem in the research gap. What is the problem? I can hear you. Sorry. Okay, I think I'll wait on that one first. First, I pass this one. Later on, whenever you can connect with this one, you ask me again. All right. So I will move to the next one, which is the we discussed already about these references. And common mistake number 3 is basically the student fail to ask when the question is unclear. When the question asked by the examiners during this online pandemic or before the online and so on, sometimes the examiners, talk too fast or too slow, or you're too nervous to hear the talking and so on. Please, please ask again. No problem, but ask in a very, very good manner. Doctor, could you please refer the last question? I didn't get it. I'm so sorry. So I will answer you accordingly. But please, please rephrase the question. You can ask them nicely, no problem. But a lot of students, basically, when they feel very nervous on this one, they don't want to ask because of if they ask again, sometimes the question is very challenging and hard for them to answer. But believe me, you know, you don't want to skip any question in the proposal defense. Okay. All right, such as the common mistake number 4, cutting the question or questioner off. So please never cut the question, you know, don't go around the bush, you know. So this one is very, very bad manner to be practiced. If you don't know how to answer that question, please be honest. All right, honesty is the most important thing in the proposal defense presentation. All right. So common mistake number 5 is basically too defensive. All right. Of course, you want to defend your proposal, but defense does not mean to be defensive. You don't have to defend your thesis proposal to the death. Right. So this is the common mistake by the student. They say that, oh, this is my thesis. I have to defend this one till the end of my life. No, you don't have to. To defend your proposal means to justify the decision you have made in choosing the variables and methods of your study. Okay, justify the decision you have made in choosing the variables and methods of your study. All right, so no one can make a perfect study or perfect thesis. All right, there is always room for improvement. Okay, so this is the thing that you have to be ensured that whenever you get advice from the examiners and so on, please, you know, be humble, accept some of the correction. If you have the justification clearly in your study and so on, you have, yeah, you can fight for that one because of, you know, that that's right. Because of you have the resources, you have the supporting evidence and so on. But again, in a good manner, in a very good manner. All right. Okay, so common mistake number 6, pretending to know the answer when you don't. So please be careful, students. Some of the students are, you know, pretending to know the answer, but when the answer actually put themselves in a very jeopardized position, you know, they're jeopardizing their position in the presentation, you know, because of, yeah, you know, the examiners from, you know, the very expertise area in your presentation and so on, so you cannot trick them. So please be honest. Again, be honest is the key of the successful presentation. So if you don't know the answer, please be honest and tell the examiners, I don't know, but please give me some time. I will do the study or the research accordingly. Thank you very much for your question. Thank you very much for your knowledge sharing and so on. So it's better through that way rather than you be defensive. You know, you try to answer the question without a proper preparation. All right. So common mistake number 7 is it's very, very sad. A lot of students, you know, some of the students, they are very, very arrogant in terms of doing the presentation. They say that they think that they knows everything because of they are in line of the, for example, education, they are in line of the, you know, industry. So they knows better than the examiners and so on. But again, the attitude is number 1 in the knowledge, in the academics and so on. So you have to show that you are in the level of the PhD, you are in the level of the masters and so on. You have to be humble in everything. You have to respect everybody. Respect everybody. All right. I'm not saying that you have to follow every single thing as advised by the examiners, but you have to discuss. You can negotiate and so on. But please throw away the attitudes of the being arrogant and other than that, respect for the people. All right. Being kind, being good, believe me, you will get a good satisfaction, good reward from all right. So common mistake number 8 is rambling on and beating around the bush. Answer properly in sequence. Okay, all right. So this one as well, a lot of students when they have limited time to study, limited time of preparation and so on, so they just answer it by going around the bush, you know. When they ask, examiners ask something, they explain about something else and so on, out of the topics and so on. So please be precise in your answer, directly to the point. You don't have to go around the bush, you know. And you can address the answer. Okay, the answer of question number 1 is this one followed by the question number 2 and question number 3. I hope that I address all of your question properly. If you don't, please let me know. So it is better through that way, right? You have to plan properly on that one. Okay. So common mistake now, talking too fast or too slow. and how to adjust on this one, how to evaluate this one, because of you sometimes cannot see your presentation because of you are too nervous. So this one you have to do your own recordings, you know, double check on your performance with your friends, mock presentation with your lecturers and so on, ask for the feedbacks and so on. This is very important, you know. I myself have a problem as well. Last 10 years ago, I'm talking very, very fast in doing the presentation. Up until now, I'm talking very fast because of not so many students really want to ask me a question. Perhaps they don't understand. But I hope that today you can get the gist out of it, right? So this is the common things. Please be careful in this one, okay? Not too fast, in the middle. Okay. Right. Common mistake number 10, rush yourself the defense. Okay, don't rush too much because of it will be affecting your quality of presentation. You know, quite nervous with your heart beating so fast. You know, a lot of things can happen. You know, of the cases, the student, you know, collapse during the presentation because of the heart attack. So I afraid that I hope that does never happen again, inshallah, in the future. All right. Okay. Common mistake number 11 is basically not knowing the protocols, the format, and the panels. So you have to do this background study, due diligence, and so on to understand what is the requirement, who is your panels, what is their what are their expertise, and so on. So at least you prepare with something, you know, rather than nothing. So you must understand the protocol and so on. Okay, believe me on this one. Okay, and then common mistake number 12, assuming that you know everything about your own thesis. Okay, this is a very, 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 very big mistake because of you are not the person who knows everything, even the lecturers, even the examiners and so on. But we learn from each other. So please be humble on this one. Don't assume that you know everything about this one. But please, when you go into the proposal defense, set in your mind, you want to learn something new as well. Okay, believe of things from the proposal defense and turn into the proposal defense mindset. You must turn into the sharing session rather than defending your proposal too much. All right, so it's going to be better through that way. And then the last but not least, no, not the last, I think we have two more. Thinking you will be a natural at this, meaning that you don't have to prepare because of you know that you can do it. It's wrong. No, you have to prepare, you know, practice. All right, so you have to practice, you have to iterate every time, you have to make sure that you nail the presentation very well. But again, you have to prepare. You know, a lot of students, you know, they're considering last minute preparation will be okay. But for me, it's good. Don't prepare for the last minute. Okay, it's very many times. Okay, common mistake number 14, versioning without updating supervisor or panels. Meaning you are versioning, you are doing new version of your proposal, doing new improvement to your slides and so on. But you never mention it to your supervisor or you never mention to the panel. And then later on you bring your own version without telling others or you have the old version and so on. So this is very wrong because of people will evaluate you whatever they have in their own hands. So it is better for you to inform every single person involved with your presentation, such as your SV, you know, your panels and so on about this versioning. And please put the version number of your documents. Please put the version number of your documents. Sometimes you will be lost. You yourself will be lost in your version itself. So it is better to put your numbers of version and put the date as well for your versioning of your proposal defense. It helps you a lot, believe me. Okay. So last one, the common mistake number 15. This is a very, very big thing that you have to improve yourself if you are in this category. Lone Ranger, missing link with a supervisor. It's going to be headache time for you guys. So please keep a good relationship with your supervisor because of he's the one or she's the one who's going to approve your PhD as well as to advise you properly on what kind of the improvement that you shall make to your proposal defense and so on, and what is the do and don'ts of your proposal defense, as well as to appoint the external examiner or internal examiner. All right, so please you know, keep up the good relationship. Believe me, whenever you have a positive relationship with your supervisor, things going very smoothly and easier for you guys. Believe me. All right. Okay. All right. I think I addressed everything inside this thought for the proposal defense. All right. So before we stop the session, I would like to have this Q&A session as well. Okay, first of all, I will go into this chat room to check the question. Okay. Let me see.
Doctor?
Yeah. Okay.
Can you share this materials?
Well, sure, no problem. I will share the organizer with the organizer so that later on you can refer with the organizer to get this.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, the question in this this one, how to plan for GOT? Main headlines, please. Okay. How to plan for GOT? You know the duration of the GOT? Okay, first of all, you have to know the duration of the GOT. And then from there, you have to plan for the Gantt chart to obtain your GOT. But again, in order for you to obtain for the GOT, graduate on time, the relationship with your supervisor is a must. It must be in a very good relationship because of the supervisor will support you to submit earliest. And you have to prepare for the publication because of, in order for you to submit your thesis earlier, you must have a proof of publication. If I'm not mistaken, at least two papers to be published in the journals. So that's all. If you can nail that thing, you can publish GOT. You can graduate GOT, inshallah. All right. Further information you can refer with your supervisor. I think through that way is better. All right. Okay. So other question, publication at the time of publication should be there. As in proposal, we haven't conduct our study. Should be review paper related to the work be done. It should be a conceptual or concept paper. No problem. You can do it. Okay, concept paper, which means from the literature review that you have for your proposal defense, you can extract the information to show the concept paper and to prepare the concept paper and to submit to the journals. No problem at all. All right. And then what to do if proposal is rejected? Okay, it's not the end of the days. You can still discuss with your supervisor. Usually, the proposal rejected due to many reasons, such as lost connection with the supervisor. You don't prepare things following the protocols, the specification, and so on. So it's very hard for the proposal to be rejected unless there is a very big problem such as plagiarism, similarities in your studies and so on. So please refer to your supervisor about this one. But if the proposal is rejected, you can come up with a new proposal. No problem at all. It's not the end of your days. Okay, right? So preliminary study and pilot study the same or different? Preliminary study could be from the secondary data, from the journals and so on. Pilot study is basically to test your questionnaire instrument. So it's different. Okay, it is a different thing. Preliminary study and pilot study is different thing. All right. No sound. Okay. Please advise in situation when you overall turning in check off chapter 1 to 3 is below 20%, but upon checking one of the chapters, the turning in report more than 20%. Please advise it is the overall that matters or chapter by chapter. Both overall matters, chapter by chapters matters. So you have to adjust accordingly. All right. So please double check your chapters again, and when you combine, it must be less than 20% as well. Okay. Because of the faculty will have to for you to fill up both on the chapters by chapter role as well. All right. Kindly, can you share good example of defense proposal? Sure, I will share later on. Example on quantitative and qualitative. Okay, inshallah, I will do my best to share on this one. What if we publish a paper? Yes, definitely you can publish a paper from literature review, but again, you cannot publish as it is. You have to adjust the paper accordingly based on the themes of the journals and so on. For example, publish the paper in innovation, some of your component in your literature review is not related to the innovation. You can remove that one. You can focus on the innovation as well. So it is a concept paper, all right, extracted from the literature review. Not chapter 2, you submit to the organizer and hope you are waiting for them to accept your paper. No, you have to extract within 5 to 10 pages, follow the theme by the journals, follow their format, follow their template, and so on. Later on, you can submit to them, waiting for their acceptance. All right.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Okay, all right.
Can I ask a question, please?
No problem.
Okay. To the best of my knowledge, the research gap fall under the problem statement when we write our thesis. But in your slide, you present them in two different slides. May I know why?
Okay.
What's the difference?
Okay, all right. There are different school of thought in this one, but the most practice by the student in the faculty, for example, in Ahibs, we have to separate the problem statement and the research gap. All right, we have to separate the items. Okay, so why? Because of problem statement and research gap is different thing. Okay, of course you have the problem, but is there any gaps in terms of addressing the problems? If you don't have any gaps in addressing the problems, then there is no use for you to run for the research, because of there is no gap in terms of that one because of, yeah, you have the problem, you have the solution, but now we have the gaps. Okay, so it is a different things. I hope that I answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, you're welcome. Should we recite the original author or the paper which we are reading? Yes, definitely. Okay, question, please.
What do you suggest? How long should be a gap?
Pardon?
I'm saying, what you suggest? How long should be a gap?
Oh
If
my
you're
God, I cannot
writing
hear you
both
very well.
problem statement and you are writing a research gap, what you suggest? How long should be both?
Oh, okay, all right, okay. Based on my experience, based on the papers that I assessed previously, there is no standard for this one. But of course, you don't want to make it too lengthy. The best is basically for the problem statement 1 to 2 pages, and for the research gap within 1 page to 2 pages only. So not more than that usually. If too much explanation on both of the things, I afraid that you are going more than the context of your study. So please be focused. All right. I hope that I answer your question. Is it okay? Okay. All right. Okay. Wait. I check for the chat room for the question. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. I think that's all for the question. Do you have any other question for this one, please? I think for the last question before we stop the session, because of already 4 p.m. in the evening. Okay, please, guys, if you have any one last question for this one.
Okay, so there are no other question, right?
Okay. I think okay, wait. More question. One more question in the okay. Do you need to agree with all comments, suggestions given by the examiners in your defense? If not, how could you convince them without making them feel that you are not willing to follow them? Okay, this is a very tricky question. Actually, again, as I advised to you guys, it's not necessarily for you to follow all of the examiners what we call recommendation. If you have the justification, you can convince them. But if you don't have the justification, so you have to follow the recommendation by the examiners, because of examiners knows that what is the best for you. Actually, we don't want to torture you. I, as the examiner, I don't want to torture you anyway. So, but if we found any problems your thesis, in your proposal, of course we want to address it properly, and you have to follow. Unless you have the justification, say that, doctor, I already referred to this one. You don't, and I think that we could do somewhere through this way, not through that way of your suggestion. Not saying that your suggestion is not good, but I think I want to follow on this one. It's okay as well. For me, it's okay. I'm not sure about the other examiners, but for me, if you have the justification, why not? You are the graduates. You don't have any problem in terms of doing the research and so on. So if you have any justification, it's a good two-way communication, it's a good argument, then it's okay. For me, it's okay. No problem at all. Okay. Okay, again, I think that's all. Is systematic literature review also good to show in proposal defense? If you have enough time to explain about this one, yes, it's good. But put it in the tabulated table form is better through that way. All right. But don't go in depth too much because of to focus on the literature review only. You have time, very limited time to focus on other things as well. So please balance your proposal defense. Okay, all right. So I think that's all from myself. I will share my phone number and my contacts with the organizer. Perhaps the organizer can give to whoever needs for the guidance, and for the next session, perhaps we can arrange another session later, inshallah. Thank you very much again, guys, for your participation. And see you
Thank
all
you so
later.
much, Doctor. Again,
Right.
attention to all
Thank you,
participants.
Doctor.
Please provide your feedback online through the feedback form link provided in the chat box, because this is compulsory for all participants according to SPS. And now I would like to welcome Encik Shamsul. Do you have any words? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Shafira. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. Thank you to our speaker, Dr. Muhammad Khairuddin Ramli. These are very informative and very, I would like to say that very skillful, right? It is very useful for those who haven't attended any proposal defense yet, and also it is very useful for a student like me who have already attended proposal defense, but before this pandemic, my PD is before this pandemic, so it is a different situation actually. Okay, but
I see.
yeah, it's a different situation actually. But it's very useful. I hope that we can inshallah, maybe we can have some discussion. Maybe we can have another session with Dr. also, but in different topics, inshallah. And thank you very much to our advisor. Thank you very much once again to Doctor. And also thank you very much to our advisor, Dr. Loges. And also thank you to my team, Pgss Ahibs JB teams, for organizing this session. And thank you to all one of every participant who participate in this evening session. Okay, before we end, I would like you all to turn on your video so we can take some photo. All right? So maybe yeah, everybody stand by. Okay, smart. We're gonna have some photo here. Okay. Just okay. One more. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you once again. Thank you very much. So that's this session for today. Thank you, Shafira.
One more freestyle. Satu lagi freestyle.
Yeah, freestyle.
Satu lagi freestyle.
Siapa tu Major? You Major, thank you Major. One more time. One more. Okay, one more. Freestyle. Itu je freestyle Major. Alright.
Okay, terima kasih. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, terima kasih. Jumpa lagi. Terima kasih. Jumpa lagi.
Okay, alright.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye bye. Thank you.